Our next guest is a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist and associate editor of The Washington Post. His best-selling book, Rage, is on sale now. Please welcome to the show, Bob Woodward. How are you, Bob?
Well, thank you.
Thank you for being here. The president had multiple reactions to your book based on the fact that he said he read it in one night. How did you react to what we think we all know is a very obvious lie?
Well, maybe he took the Evelyn Wood speed reading class
Yeah,
in
that
the
probably it.
1970s. And so, but he has had varied reactions. He initially said it was a political hit job. And then he said he read it, found it boring, but he said some great things in it, he said. And then one of the Fox News anchors actually asked him the key question, is it accurate? And he said, it's okay, it's fine.
Which I think is about as high a praise as he's going to give to a book about him, certainly written by anyone other than a close friend. One of the things you asked him, of course, in the book is, are you worried about contracting coronavirus because of the way you are operating through this pandemic? How do you reflect back on that in a week where he very clearly did contract it?
Well, he just said, and it was almost mystical, and we played the tape of it on television, where he said, no, I don't think I'm going to get it. And I said, why? And he said, I just don't think I'm going to get it. I'm not going to get it. And it was said with the kind of confidence that obviously has not been borne out now that he has it. But I went back and looked at when we started releasing those audios, and you ran one of them about 3 weeks ago, in which he said back in February that it's deadlier than the flu, and it can be transmitted by people who don't show symptoms, but very much emphasized with numbers that it's more deadly than the flu. And now today, he says, no, the flu is more deadly than the virus. Of course, the numbers totally contradict that. And he put that up on Facebook and tweeted it. And it's interesting, maybe we've made some progress. Facebook made him take it down because it's not true. And in the case of Twitter, they, I guess they don't take things down, but they just say it's false. So you can read it and I'll see that the Twitter executives label it false.
That I think speaks to one of the trickiest parts of you writing a portrait of a president. You mentioned that he obviously tells us all it's the flu. He tells you privately it's worse than the flu. Now he gets it and he's back to telling people the flu is worse. How do you paint a portrait of somebody that holds, any given position for no longer than a minute or two?
Well, he does hold some positions, and for 10 months, his denial about the significance of the virus is very evident. Back in January, they laid it out for him, told him it will be the biggest national security threat to your presidency. Told him exactly why, that the deputy national security advisor had impeccable medical sources in Hong Kong and China, and he ignored that. He did tell me in February, oh yeah, that's when he said it's going to be worse. And then he always said, I'm playing it down, I'm playing it down. It was not until May that I learned that about the January meeting. And so when it's in the book, it's a whole picture of him avoiding his responsibility to protect the public. One of the first interviews I did with him, I asked the question, what's the job of the president? And he said, to protect the people. He failed catastrophically on that front. President's other job is to tell the truth. He failed to tell the truth. And what he did in this, I believe, because the record is so clear and mind-numbing, will go down in history as one of the great presidential mistakes of all time.
I'm sorry to have to ask this question, but a friend of mine wanted me to ask. You won a Pulitzer. Do you get any money with that?
I saw earlier you were at.
Is it just an award? Is there a little bit of,
Watergate was the Public Service Pulitzer, which is a gold medal that they give the newspaper, the Washington Post. So there's, in some case that you can't get into, is the gold medal. And so I didn't get a share of it. It rightly went to the newspaper. Carl Bernstein and I did some of the work, but we had a great editor, Ben Bradley, and Catherine Graham, the owner of the paper, very wise lady. Can I tell a story about her?
Please.
And she, after Nixon resigned, and it was just a few weeks afterwards, she wrote Carl and myself a letter, but she wrote it on a yellow legal pad. She had more stationery than any 1,000 people in Washington. But this, I think it was a spontaneous, honest reaction. And she said, "Dear Carl and Bob, you did some of the stories. Nixon's resigned. Now don't start thinking too highly of yourselves. And let me give you some advice. And the advice is beware the demon pomposity." And wow, what an important lesson for me, for Carl, people in the media business, people in politics, people in business, even people in show business. Pomposity is a demon, and it gets in the way of lots of people doing good work or their best work.
If you write a third book, it would also make one heck of a title for our president. Thank you so much.
Demon pomposity lives.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the book.